Hello, my darklings. Welcome. Today, I'm telling you a story that really rattled the country to its core. This is a story of stolen innocence, a story of justice being demanded, and a society being forced to confront its demons. This is the story of Vera Uwaila Omozuwa, or simply known as Uwa. Uwa was born in 1998. She was described as a bright student, quiet, but also had a deep love for education. At just the age of 22, Uwa was a first-level student in the University of Benin studying microbiology. Friends and family described her as very shy, gentle, and very religious. And so when the world was locked down in 2020 during the pandemic, she took to the Ipabu Hill Parish, Redeemed Christian Church of God, and kind of turned it to her sanctuary, a place where she believed that she could get away from all the outside noise and just really study her books. On the 27th of May 2020, Uwa set out to go read. On account of her sister, it said that she gave her some money to buy some textbooks, which Uwa went ahead to buy, and then left for the church where she usually studies. Hours passed and no one could reach Uwa. And so in the evening, a security guard who was doing his nightly rounds noticed a trail of blood, which he followed. This trail of blood then leads him to Uwa's body. She was found in a very bad state. Lacerations to her head, swollen eyes, her pants were pulled down. It was a gory sight, very horrible. And what was the murder weapon?
A fire extinguisher cylinder.
She was hit on the head repeatedly. The security guards caused an alarm, called the parish pastor, who then called his wife, who reached out to Uwa's family. And then she was rushed to the hospital. And for 3 days, she fought. But on the third day, Uwa gave in to her injuries. Postmortem results confirmed the unthinkable. Uwa was raped and murdered in a place of worship. The news of Uwa's death spread like wildfire. Nigerians were enraged. Activists were enraged. People demanded justice. Instantly, the hashtag Justice for Uwa began trending. Activists began to do protests. It was said that there was a protest in front of the police station at Benin where this happened. Because for some reason, the police were being very lackadaisical about solving this case.
Members of the church for 15 years.
The victim is always going to the church to read almost every day. So she went there to read. When she was done reading, she was about leaving the premises, the church premises. That was how some guys came. They raped her.
With when we saw her state, it was not good at all. Bite mark all over her body, her hand, her mouth. So when we saw her deteriorating condition at that hospital, they couldn't handle it. They immediately took her to UBTH. That's where she gave up last night.
The governor, Godwin Obaseki, demanded an immediate investigation of this case. And so the Inspector General of Police transferred this case to Abuja to have forensic experts look into it. And within weeks, 6 suspects were apprehended. One of them being a man called Colin Ulegbe. Colin admitted to being the one who struck her on the head with a fire extinguisher. But he claims that he was just a pawn in a ritualistic agenda headed by a woman called Mary Ade. He said that this woman paid them well over 1 million naira to carry out this attack. Alongside him, Akato Valentine, Nelson Obebo, Nosa Osabohe, Mary Ade, and a woman called Tina Samuels, who happened to be a mother of one of the suspects. And the charges against them were heavy: rape, murder, robbery, and conspiracy to kill. Although Collins had already admitted his role in this, saying that he was just a pawn, others lied. Some people twisted their stories. Nothing substantial was coming out of this case. But the evidence that police was able to work with was one, the fingerprints that they found on the murder weapon, which was the fire extinguisher. Also, medical results show that there was a sexual assault on the victim. Also, the police was able to trace Uwa's phone to one of the suspects, who still had it in possession. But in October of 2020, one of the suspects was released, Miriade, and she was released because the court said there wasn't enough evidence to charge her to this murder. And the rest of the suspects remained imprisoned. They still remained within the police confinement. Years later, the wheels of justice moves very slow, as no progress was given in this case, as there were no milestones reached, no information any further, and no one being held accountable for the death of Uwa. Uwa's death was not just a crime. It became a movement, as it ignited something in women and enraged us and brought to light the gender-based violence in Nigeria at that time. Activists called for Uwa's law, which was up to 21 years of punishment for rapists. And if this rape leads to death, they asked for harder punishments. On November 14th, 2020, Vera Uwaila Omozuwa was laid to rest in Benin City. Her funeral was very heart-wrenching, and it was sad and heartbreaking. It was basically a symbol of innocence stolen way too soon and in the most brutal way. And so today, we remember Uwa, who was not just a victim, but she was somebody's sister. She was a dreamer, a student, a girl whose life was just brutally taken away from her in the most senseless way possible. Her story reminds us that evil lies in the places that we least expect. Evil is somewhere that we least expect, just waiting to show itself. It is also a story that reminds us to demand justice and demand justice relentlessly. This has been Amara in the Dark. This was a very touchy story to tell, and I hope it touched you the way it did for me. If you liked this story, like, comment, share, subscribe, and get very creative in our comment section. Tell us what you'd like to have us tell you next. I've been your host, Amara Audu, and this has been Amara in the Dark.